Very alarmed by what I'm hearing. And the reason why I'm alarmed by what I'm hearing, I just thought it was a matter of skill or lack thereof. I just look at guys like Artie Burns and Joe Hayden. I love my man Joe Hayden. I always see him at the Cleveland Cavaliers game. I won't see him there this year because LeBron's gone. But I've always seen him at the Cleveland Cavaliers game.
You're never going to another Cavs game.
I don't believe it. Yeah. All right. But seeing him and Terrell Edmonds, Sean Davis, and all of these guys, I just thought it was a horrid secondary. To me, miscommunication. Guys being open. And then not only that, it's just me. I don't know if this is true or not, just by the mind's eye, Damien. They just look short. It always looks like the receiver's towering over them. You know, just let me throw it up there. They'll get it with these defenders. That's how it always looks to me when I look at the Steelers secondary. But the reason why I'm alarmed, because now from Heyward, what we're hearing is guys are not on the same page. Guys are not coming to work. They're not grabbing their lunch pail and putting it in. Guys are thinking about themselves instead of the team. So it's just added fodder to the dysfunctionality that we have been lamenting about the Steelers. I
think you're reading it wrong.
Since the damn season began.
I think you're reading it wrong. First of all, they look short to you because the secondary plays small. So, of course, they look short.
You know what? They do look small, though, Max. No, they do look short. They really do. They look short. They really do.
You're saying they could use Richard Sherman back there?
Yeah, man. I think there's somebody with some height. Somebody.
No doubt. So, but
everybody looks 5'9".
Here's what I think Heyward's actually saying. And it actually relates. I don't think it's so much about what you think it's about. I think he's basically saying, look, the game plan needs to be that we trust our defensive players, even the players in the secondary who seem to not be able to make plays. So what does he mean by that? Why did the Steelers' defense look so bad? Because they weren't bringing pressure. Not only were they not bringing pressure, they were only bringing 3. They were dropping 8 back into coverage to try to make up for it, right? And what he's saying is, look, everyone has a job to do. This is how I read it. You got to trust them to do their job. We can't just bring 3 and drop 8 into coverage because we think that they need the extra help. We got to actually do it. Play defense. Let me do my job.
I heard nothing about scheme, Mac.
No, but that's how I
heard personnel.
When I read between the lines, that's how I interpret it.
Okay.
They can't listen. Let me tell you something. I am seriously giving a lot of consideration to taking Matt Ryan in daily fantasy this upcoming week because of precisely that issue, right? Like, oh, you're going to play a good offense? You're not going to bring pressure against the quarterback? Great. Let me take that guy.
You wouldn't be wrong, but listen. I always say, anytime you have players start talking or player meetings, boy, that's when it's really it's a bad sign.
Leaking to
because
us.
A lot of times in these player meetings or when players start talking, nothing gets accomplished. Nothing gets straightened out. It's usually like things start snowballing more of the same.
But Heyward usually doesn't speak. He doesn't say much. The fact that he is the one that felt the need to speak out really scares me.
But that's to me, that's what alarmed me. Like, I understand, like, he rarely speaks, but when players usually speak, or when you hear about these players-only meetings, those things tend to not go well overall.
You ain't having it because you're doing well.
Yeah. I mean, that's just really the case here. But also, Mike Tomlin is a defensive mind. He's a defensive coach. It seems like every year, we don't really talk about the offensive side of football because usually they've been proficient in scoring a bunch of points. But it just seems like on the defensive side of football, every year we kind of get around to talk about we always talk about whether it was last year when they played the Patriots and they couldn't stop Gronk for like one critical drive. It just seems like they don't have any adjustments when teams are exploiting them. That's what good coaches do, is you make adjustments, particularly in the game, to kind of show up things.
Is he talking about Tomlin?
He's a defensive-minded coach.
So Heyward's talking about Tomlin.
No, I don't. Listen, I think Heyward is talking about the players. He's basically calling out other players on the defense. Like, guys, we got to man up here because we're out there getting
people in or out. Like, be here or don't be here. It basically seems like a lot of people don't even want to play there anymore.
But my biggest thing is, when are we going to see the adjustments on the Steelers' defense? Okay, you can't change the players at this point. The players are who they are. Well, at some point, you gotta make adjustments, tweak things to try to solve what's going on with the Steelers defense.
To me, when I don't see the Steelers blitzing, which always befuddles me, when I don't see them blitzing and trying to apply pressure to the quarterback, obviously their mentality is we're willing to bend a lot without breaking because we're scared to death of giving up the big play. My attitude is the hell with it. Put a hat on somebody, make them pay, make them scared to death that you're going to lay some wood on them. That's, to me, that's another thing. That's one thing. Bostic and T.J. Watt, relatively the same player. That's a problem for me as well. You obviously miss Ryan Shazier a great, great deal. The secondary, again, notorious for being inept over the last 4 or 5 years. We have looked at the Steelers secondary, and we have not been overly impressed. Okay, I remember when I was so upset. I thought I'd never forgive Ike Taylor for giving up that damn touchdown to Tim Tebow years ago when Tim Tebow connected with Demaryius Thomas. I mean, I collapsed on my living room floor, and I almost cried. That's the one. I did not want to come into work the next day to deal with that. It was just torture. It was just torture, right? But then I'm thinking I'm mad at Ike Taylor. Do you have any idea what I'd give to have Ike Taylor now? What I'd give to have Ike Taylor now? I mean, when I look at the Steelers secondary over the last 3-4 years, it's just deplorable. And so if you can't defend against the best, everybody looks like Tom Brady going against them.
But here's the problem. The bend but don't break philosophy, which is how teams in the modern NFL actually succeed on the highest level. Usually it's a great offense we see get toward the end in the playoffs with a bend but don't break defense. Witness the New England Patriots. There's only one Bill Belichick. And everyone else, you need a requisite level of talent on the team. You know why the Falcons aren't good right now? 2 key defensive players aren't playing. Don't underestimate Shazier. You spend a middle of the first round draft pick on a defensive player, and then he's not there. Not so easy to replace that.
Yeah, and they were missing a starting safety. Joe Hayden missed a game. So they had a couple injuries with that secondary. But I know that doesn't explain years of the same problem over and over. The Steelers allowing 29 points per game and the 3rd most yards in the league as of now.